Hi, my name's Andrew. Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to review my Middle East investors database, and this is the third video of a custom database I am creating for the Middle East that includes investment companies, venture capital, private equity, high net worth, UAE national, and Saudis. It's a very, very unique database, and if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I create databases for many sectors. This one's a little different because it is more on the custom side. This is the third video in the series, and I put about 150 hours total into the database, and we're going to go through the progress and what it will look like in the end. Just a little bit about myself. In the past 2 years, I've helped over 200 clients with their fundraising initiatives, pitch decks, investor databases, and targeting, and more. And you can find more information on my services by clicking the Fiverr link below. My databases include venture capital, private equity, angel groups, family investment offices. I also help clients with pitch deck reviews. If you're looking to send your pitch deck out to investors, I have a service on Fiverr where I will review it for you. Approximately 80% of the pitch decks that I receive are not suitable to be sent out to investors. So this video highlights a comprehensive database of Middle East investors that can be used for fundraising. I spend a lot of time on the Middle East sector. It's one of the most popular databases that I get requested, and this is unique because it's an updated version of previous ones with some new info and some new sectors. And if you're looking to raise capital in the Middle East, it's something that you're going to want to watch for. So some key notes for database clients. Firstly, this database involves both a collection of previously created databases and new ones. I've been working on the Middle East databases now for about 3 years, and this means very deep dives into different sectors. They change a lot. There's a lot of movement of people in the Middle East. Companies open, they close, so it's never going to be 100% perfect. Secondly, databases like this can't be scraped from the internet. Do not believe anyone who says they can do it accurately. There are many people, especially on Fiverr, that they're saying, oh, I'm going to scrape a database for you. Most of the databases that you will get scraped, for example, if you get 500 contacts, 200 to 300 of those are going to be from websites that have been up for 4 or 5 years, or shall I say are dated to 2015, 2014, 2011. Sometimes they're out of business, but they're still going to end up on your spreadsheet. So what I try to do in this particular database is get rid of all those. Again, don't believe anybody who says that they can accurately scrape leads for these type of contacts. Thirdly, additional work and filtering needs to be done after you acquire any database. I am not your database manager. In other words, when you get this database, it shall be considered very advanced, but it is always going to be a work in progress. Do not expect it to be 100%, but I have set it up so that you can do a lot of work in the future on it. But one thing to point out is it will be the most advanced database for Middle East venture capital and private equity, and I know that because I have all of them. And lastly, some databases can be considered as off-the-shelf or custom created and refined. So I have 400,000 investor contacts. I think if you watched my previous videos, you know that. Many of those are what I call off-the-shelf. In other words, I've categorized them, but I have not refined them. This one is a refined database. So again, the Middle East version is refined as we sit here in the middle of October with about 150 hours dedicated to this one database alone. How do I find these investors? Again, my master database is 400,000 contacts. That includes angel investors, family investment offices, endowment funds, pension funds, hedge funds, private equity databases, REITs. I have a premium high net worth and ultra high net worth Middle East database, and that's for preferred and special clients only. It is the only one of its type. I have investment consultants, venture capital, and investment banks database. And the good news is most of those databases are ready to go. They're considered mostly off-the-shelf databases that you can start working on and refining. So what will this final database include? So for this database, I have included some companies owned by royal families, in other words, not all. I've used a lot of intelligence from other databases that I have that you're going to see a little bit further on here. Dubai companies owned by high-profile UAE nationals, I've included those in it. And even though the focus is on venture capital and private equity and investment companies, I've included some key companies from some high net worth individuals, because those are good people to make contacts with, especially if you're using this to do networking as well as raising funds for. So again, key Middle East venture capital and private equity companies. And this is a unique and rare database. Has never been created before. In other words, you're never ever going to find this database anywhere else but from me. Who is eligible to acquire this database? Corporate grade and institutional grade clients can acquire this database. And the good news is you know if you are in that category and you know if you aren't. So what will the database include? You're going to see this more because I'm going to the spreadsheets right away. You're going to see some company name, website, company email addresses. You're going to see some key contacts where possible, a telephone number where possible, and a description of company and sectors and investment interest. In fact, this database is really, really unique because I've used some real technical AI to create some of it. So much of it is manual, but I've also used a bit of AI techniques where I'm able to help you steer in the right direction as you start to work on your own version of this database. What type of contacts will benefit from the Dubai Investors Database? I call it Dubai Investors Database because the majority of the clients, let's say about 2/3 of them, are going to be Dubai, a large Dubai or Abu Dhabi. Dubai is a better keyword, and then you're also going to see a lot of Saudi. But basically, private equity firms will benefit from identifying potential partnerships or acquisition targets with strong regional influence and backing. MNCs that want to leverage local insights and connections when considering expansions or joint ventures in the Middle East. Real estate development companies, those are the highest level of contacts that usually are in touch with me, not only on Fiverr but on other platforms and websites that I have that focus on the Middle East investors. They're looking for opportunity to collaborate on high value projects with established local entities, ensuring smoother market entry. Banking and financial institutions that want to gain access to high net worth individual or corporate accounts and potential partnerships in wealth management services. Consulting and advisory firms, that again, that's a large group of the potential clients that would like to have this type of database so that they can beef up their resources and get a better understanding of the regional and market players and their strategies, improving their consultancy offerings. And lastly, institutional investors that want to explore unique and lucrative opportunities with companies that have proven regional success and strong backing. And the beauty is this database has a blend of what I would call investor and investment companies, leading UAE national companies, and the VC and the PE side. So basically it's a dual opportunities for this list. So let's take a look at the database. So now we're over on the database section, and if you watched either the second video or the first video that I made on this series, it basically just outlines the evolution of how this database gets created. And the reason I'm doing this is to show potential purchasers of the database the amount of work that goes into it. Because if you're a company and you have a database department, or people in business development, you know the type of work that goes into this, but this is also to show the work that I put into the database. Again, you cannot scrape this database. This database started off with around 1,000, about 800, 900 contacts to be exactly. And at 150 hours, I'm now down to about 500 by the time I'm done. It will end up probably being around 450. But let's take a look at what I've done as far as the evolution of it. I started to talk about the first few fields and working down, and now I'm going to show basically what this database includes. It includes the company, the country, a bit of a description, the main business interests and preferred sectors, their websites, and I've checked all their websites. Again, if you were to scrape this from the internet, you'll end up with 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 companies. But again, more than half of the websites will be either dead or this old. Nobody wants a database with a website that's on the bottom of the footer says 2015, and I see it all the time, every day. The investment types. Now, what I've done is I've used some AI for this, so I'm just going to open this field up a little bit here because this is important. This was not in the last video. Most of this is a database that I've done manually. I've created from years of working on these, updating them. But this is a new version with some AI put into it. For example, the investment targets 1, 2, and 3 show different types of assets or asset classes that these particular investors would look at based on 1, their website, 2, on their internet history, whatever news fields they've had of what they've looked at. Now, it's not 100% perfect. Nothing is. You can see there's a lot of focus on real estate, and if I go down to the bottom, you see there's an awful lot here that's going to be tied to venture capital, private equity, and again, some of the sectors. Do not take this as 100%, but use this as a guide for when you start to create and enhance your database. The idea of this database is that you will take it from where I have it now, and again, I'm not your database manager. You're going to take this internally and you're going to advance this over the years, and trust me, it will be the best source of Middle East capital that you'll ever have. So we've got those investment targets that were done using some AI. Business type, and I've used this to expand on their main business interests so that you can see that they're either investment companies, they're private equity, they're venture capital, there's some family investment offices, holding companies, so on and so on. It just gives you more data to play with. Then if they have a parent company, or some relation to either a royal or high net worth UAE national, I've tried to include it. Again, this is just so that you can complement it and do cross-referencing, so that if you know you're going to be talking to one particular party, you can say, oh, I understand your company's also involved in XYZ. That's basically Business Development 101. Their key real estate assets as well. If they're in the real estate or if they've been involved with buying real estate, I've included some of it here. Again, I've used AI or information off their website. That's how come this database takes 150 hours to do. You can see there's a lot of NA, which basically means I have not been able to find any real estate assets, but that's fine. You can do that later. If they're linked to a UAE national or royal family, I will include just that they are linked. I may not necessarily include the link. Again, this is for you to do more research on. Emails, that's the company email. Some are going to be NA. Interestingly enough, there are lots of databases that don't have email addresses. They have forms to submit, especially if they're in the real estate field, real estate development. Telephone numbers were applicable. Well, again, you're going to actually check the website anyway. I put the 0 in there just to hide some information. So as far as this, I also include what's called a contact 1. You could call it primary contact, contact 2, and then the third contact is always going to be somebody from HR. Now, why did I do that? Because, for example, you're going to see some empty fields here. That means I've not been able to find a contact on their website or on the internet. So what's the best way? The best way is to go to the HR contact and write them a short email saying, hi, I'm so-and-so from X company. We're involved in this type of business, and I want to get in touch with people who might be the key contacts. And you'll find the HR people are very good at doing that. That's why they're in human resources. So I've included that as the third contact. Again, some of these are going to have more than others. In some cases, you're not going to have any contacts. Some you're going to have 1, some you're going to have 2, and some you're going to have 3. Again, this is for you to advance as you go along. So that's how this database is being created. I'm about down to 250 contacts. Again, I have another a few weeks to work on this. It looks like this database might be ready towards December now, so I'm going to be able to speed it up, but I will have probably one last video on this that will help you. The other thing to keep in mind is I use a lot of resources. I have 180,000 investors here, mainly from the UAE. They include property investors, they include venture capital, private equity, anybody that's somehow invested in some particular asset that is been on other databases that I have in other sectors. I've used that to cross-reference names, mainly to cross-reference names only, and to hopefully pick up other companies. There's a lot of companies that purchase property in Dubai, and they're not listed anywhere. They don't have websites, so you have to do a lot of research on that. So I'm going to supplement that this database by adding some of that. So that is going to come towards the end of it. So I hope this has been a good explanation. If you're looking for the most comprehensive database of investors in the Middle East, you're going to get more information in the coming weeks. For more information on my database and fundraising services, just click my Fiverr link below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.